Hey peeps, we are back. We are talking The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 3, Episode 13. Hey, before we get into the video, please do me the honors of subscribing to my channel, hitting the notification bell so you can always be notified when I post new content, hitting the thumbs up because that does wonders for my channel, and share. Thanks. Before we get into the show, let's talk housewife news. Let's start out with Jen Shah. Before we get into Jen Shah, though, can I just tell you that I recorded this entire video and didn't even hit record? Can you imagine how sad and broken I was when I realized I thought that I had recorded an entire video, but no ma'am, I had not. That is why this video is later in the afternoon than it should be, because I was ticked. Anyway, moving on. So Jen Shah was sentenced to 6.5 years today in court for wire fraud. She does not have to surrender herself to the Bureau of Prisons until February the 17th. She has asked the court to please assign her to a prison in Texas. The court has to go over and evaluate some things before they make that decision. In court, the prosecutor says that Jen Shah was in charge of the telemarketing scheme that targeted some of the nation's most vulnerable people. She ran her own floor and trained and hired people in Manhattan for years. She was here in New York for a half a year telling people how to do this. Shah was committing crimes day in and day out and making money off people who had little to give, according to the government. The government also says Shah worked hard to make as much money for herself at the expense of vulnerable people. Every cooperating witness says the person with the most power was Jen Shah. Now, before she was sentenced to 6.5 years, she was able to speak in court. According to NBC News, Shah tearfully told the court that she was deeply sorry for her crimes and wanted to apologize to all the victims. She also said she's not the carefully created and edited character fans see weekly on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Most people identify me with my public persona. It has nothing to do with reality. Shah broke down in tears during her address to the court. She continued, "I would like to take the opportunity to speak about who I actually am. I'm Jennifer Shah, daughter of immigrants." She thanked her family for her upbringing, which she said was rooted in mutual respect, fulfillment of obligations, humility and generosity, loyalty and respect. "I have come to terms that I have gone against those core values and I'm deeply sorry for what I have done. I want to apologize to the victims and families, and I take full responsibility for the harm I have caused. I will pay full restitution to all victims." She also added, "I recognize some of you lost hundreds, others lost thousands, and I promise to repay." Right. How is she going to repay these people? You are going to be in jail for 6.5 years. Then after she's released from jail, the judge has also ordered that she has 5 years of supervised release. Coach Shaw's not making that kind of money coaching football that he can pay back tens of millions of dollars. Now, before the judge sentenced her to the 6.5 years, the judge had a few words. The judge said, "Thousands of elderly people lost tens of millions of dollars in the scheme led by Shah. No victim ever earned promised returns, and they suffered financial and emotional devastation as their lives were turned upside down." The judge goes on to say, "I don't know if she appreciates the harm she has caused. I hope she has. I heard the words. Those people have no way of being made full again. If they are financially, they won't be emotionally." The judge also tells Shah, "I do wish you luck. I know that you can put this behind you, and when you get out, you can rebuild your life." Now, peeps, how do you feel about Shah getting the 6.5 years? I feel a little ways about it because some of her other co-conspirators received more time than her. And it's weird because if she was the head honcho, shouldn't she receive the majority of the time? I don't know how she intends on paying these people back. They never will be made whole. I do feel for her family Believe me, I feel for her children and her mother and her husband. I do. But I really feel for the elderly. These people are retired people who are trying to live their lives day to day. And now you have financially ruined these people. Some of these people had to come out of retirement to get part-time jobs. Some of these people have other concerns like health concerns and things like that. Personally, I think she should have spent maybe 10 or 12 years in jail for this. But time has to be served. You have to pay for this crime. You were living the high life, wearing all the Chanel, the Fendi, the Louis Vuitton, the Balenciaga, Gucci, and what is them other people? Yves Saint Laurent and Hermes, which I'm probably saying wrong because you guys know I have zero fashion sense and I have zero of any of this stuff at my house. I cannot afford it. I am a regular working class person. I'm just saying, I have a decent job and I make decent money, but you best believe I don't have any Yves Saint Laurent. I could save up for them shoes that Lisa had, though. Weren't they nice? I'm glad she didn't throw them in the water. Anyway, there was something out online posted, and I'm going to say alleged a million times on this because I don't know where they got this information from. The person is claiming that this information came from the 2018 FTC investigation. Supposedly there was a leaked text message from Jen to Stewart on how to respond to federal officers who at the time were investigating Jen for fraud and money laundering schemes. Allegedly, she wrote, "I'm putting all the questions and answers into an Excel doc, and I'll send it to you so you can practice it today." Allegedly, Shah also reassures Stewart that her husband, Sharif Shah, will coach them through the response levied at them by the Federal Trade Commission. The text message reads, allegedly, "Sharif will help us on any questions we're unsure of how to best answer or phrase. I have a list to ask him about." Now, I don't know if this was some hypothetical list. Sharif, can you help my friend who has found himself in some kind of trouble? I don't know. And I hope that that is not true. I hope that the coach had absolutely nothing to do with this. But I have to remind myself, we did not give Erica Girardi any grace. We have all gave grace to Sharif. We have said, he's too sweet. He's too nice. He wouldn't do something like that. But also at the same time, all of us have wondered, how could you not know? This lady was elaborate about all of her spending. And every time someone asked either one of them about her job, it was a whole bunch of hemming and hawing, a whole bunch of hopping and jumping, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, internet sales, this and this. They could never say exactly what the hell it is that woman did because it was illegal. And all I could think about was the last 2 seasons. I'm innocent. No, ma'am. According to these federal docs, you were the head honcho, the woman with the most power, training an entire second floor of people on how to scam the elderly, which is a no-go. And that is why I think she should have got more time in jail. Now, honey, listen, somebody went out on Twitter and posted, "While Jen is gone, I wonder which one of the girls is going to check in on Coach Shah like Portia did Simon when Fallon was gone." Now, listen, I'm not so sure if Fallon was gone before Portia checked in, but that ain't none of my business. It really isn't. Fallon and this Simon is divorced. Simon is now married to Portia. Fallon has had a baby and is pregnant again by somebody else. They have moved on with their life. But I would just like to give a message to Coach Shah. Now, listen, I am so sorry for what you are going through. But if down the line, at some point you find yourself divorced and single, I'm single. Call me. Okay, moving on, because this is not about me. Peeps, get down in the comments and let me know what you think. Now, moving on to happy news. Lisa Rinna is out. Okay, so listen. I don't normally sit around cheering and dancing a jig when somebody loses their job. I don't do that. Until now. Now, listen, Lisa Rinna has harassed the hell out of us. And for our mental health, we need a break, And did you notice that she wasn't put on pause? I'm just saying, She came out and said that it was a mutual agreement because, you know, Bravo always allows the fired housewife the opportunity to get ahead of the story and put on whatever narrative she wants to put. And there's only been a few housewives who have came out and just said plainly, I was fired. Okay, 1 was Tamara, 2 was Vicky, 3 was Kelly Dodd, and Nene Leakes is 4. And Teddy, because remember, Teddy went online. She was pissed off and she told everybody, well, you guys got what you wanted. The boring Teddy is gone. So that's 5. That's 5 housewives that I can think of off the top of my head that let us know that they were fired. Now, Lisa, in this, it was a mutual decision. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It was not. Listen, Bravo saw the writing on the wall. Lisa Rinna is a menace. She is a complete liability. Now we have Lisa fans out online trying to blame Sutton and Garcelle for Lisa being let go. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I mean, just because we're all laughing and dancing and having a good time and celebrating the fact that you're off the show, I'm sure there has been many phone calls between Garcelle, Sutton, and Denise. I'm just saying. My thing is, that does not mean that they had anything to do with this. And I would like to know, is Lisa Vanderpump coming back now? I want to know, what is Lisa Vanderpump doing right now? Lisa's fans cannot sit around here and try to blame Garcelle and Sutton. We saw Lisa self-destruct all of season 12. She did it to herself. She was a complete mess on camera, off camera, on social media, not on social media. She has no one to blame but herself. Somebody posted a meme of Candace, and instead of it saying not today neck, they crossed out neck and said not today lips. And I laughed. I know I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong, peeps. Even Sharon Stone applauded the fact that Lisa was gone. I said, you know what? Yolanda is somewhere on her farm in Pennsylvania drinking an organic lemonade with a smile on her face. And then also for the Lisa Rinna fans who are trying to blame Sutton and Garcelle, think about it. How hard did we see Lisa work to get rid of other housewives? You know what? She worked just as hard to get rid of herself. Girl, bye. We over you. So I also seen that there is a rumored cast for the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip season 4. I heard that it's Vicky, Phaedra, Brandy, Eva, Jacqueline, Camille, Caroline, and Gretchen. Now listen, I don't really watch the Ultimate Girls Trip, you know, but I was pretty sure that Vicky, Phaedra, Brandy, and Eva were on the one before last. What now? Number 2? Or was it number 1? I don't know, but okay. And miss me with Jacqueline and Caroline. I don't need that. Replace them with somebody else. I'm just saying. Get down in the comments, peeps. What do you think about this cast? Who should replace who? All right, so let's get into the show. So the whole situation with Heather's eye, the show picks up, but we are still on this. And you know what? I went from being crazy about Heather, thinking that she was the best, just love me some Heather, to she can be replaced. I'm tired of Heather. Heather has annoyed the shit out of me. This immature, I'm going to hold somebody down and keep a secret about who busted me upside my eye. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I'm over it. I'm over it. This is crazy. To me, in my opinion, Heather is absolutely enjoying the attention. She is enjoying the attention and she is using this as a storyline. And in my mind, she thought this was going to be a good look. She thought this would be cute, but really, it's really just pissing people off. This is ridiculous. She keeps going back and forth with, I don't want to talk about it. I don't talk about it. If you don't want to talk about it, then don't. Then why do you keep bringing it up? She brings it up more often than anybody asks her about it. And if you really just want it to be over with and everybody to stop talking about it, just tell them what happened and move on. Now, honey, listen, I got over Heather's eye real quick when Dana went in for the kill. I said, oh shit, Dana has clocked in. She said, oh, hell no, Jen, you gonna be gone and I need this snowflake. So Angie K, step aside. I got this. And she comes in and says that a friend of hers knows somebody who is a confidential informant in this case, and they are testifying against Jen. Now, honey, listen, everybody gets quiet. Jen gets real upset, starts to screaming that I'm innocent. We know how innocent you are, head honcho, woman in power, committing crimes day and night. That's what the prosecution said. Anyway, listen, I don't blame Dana. Dana is trying to pull in the snowflake. And Dana has already said from the jump, she doesn't trust Jen. Jen is not a good person. She can't F with her like that. And I understand it, because you best believe if I come into a friend group and I find out that one of the friend group is robbing elderly, I don't F with you either. I really don't. But at the same time, Dana, why did you show up on this girl's trip? Why did you accept the invite when you knew you weren't invited? Because you wanted to be on the show and you wanted to get the snowflake and you wanted the moment, which I'm not mad about, because I like Dana and I hand her the snowflake. I'm good with that. But what I wasn't good with is Meredith getting an attitude about it. I said, I know you're not mad that Dana is talking about Jen. Not the way you talked about Jen last season, the way you laughed and said that you thought something was weird about Jen and you aren't shocked. But now, because you don't like Lisa, you're all in for Jen, which is so freaking weird. But at the same time, weren't you the one that was adding a +1 and insisted on Dana coming? I'm not mad, Meredith. I'm not mad at all. I'm just saying this is odd for me. Now, okay, so this all goes down. And of course, Heather runs after Jen. She's got to protect Jen. However, when they were at the table talking about her eye, she kept focusing on Jen. And I'm thinking, just tell everybody that Jen busted your eye. You know, somebody also stated that if you remember when they were on the beach playing the games where they were inside of those big plastic balls, there was a scene that Heather fell and got hit by the handles inside of the plastic ball. So I'm wondering, is that how she got the black eye? I have no idea, but I tell you what, if they get down to this last episode or to the reunion and we find out that she got that black eye from being hit by that plastic ball on the beach, I want her fired immediately. This is ridiculous. You had everybody thinking that one of these girls had busted you upside the head. Anyway.
How did you get a black eye?
I have a black eye. We're still unsure about what happened to my eye.
They know someone that worked for you and said that your company or the work that you were doing was very sketchy.
Who?
And they pleaded guilty to whatever these allegations are, and now they're an informant.
Check your source, then. Check your source.
You guys all know this going on with Jen, but nobody says anything.
If I'm a guest on somebody's trip, the last thing I'm going to do is talk about things that threaten their freedom.
I don't even know the bitch, other than she has gray hair. I gave her ass a box of color.
The person that told me said that she knew exactly what they were doing.
But I'm willing to go have a conjugal visit.
All of them up is like, why don't we talk about how Heather really got the black eye?
Let's do that.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to go zip, and we're not going to tell them. You know why? Because they don't deserve to know. Because they already do, and they just want us to say it out loud.
Wait, what?
I'm loyal to the core. Snitches get what? Stitches.
I'm so confused at this point.
Feels like you're protecting somebody. If someone did this to you, nobody's okay with it. And will you ever tell me?
No.
Whitney, not knowing what a conjugal visit is, personally, I think that was Whitney's way of getting some attention. There is no way in hell that Miss I am so over the top sexual Whitney does not know what a conjugal visit is. Girl, bye. Now listen, the conversation in the bathroom with Heather and Jen, I'm with Meredith. I am totally over it and totally confused. This is ridiculous. You clearly know what happened to your eye. Jen clearly knows what happened, even though, remember, originally Jen's like, I don't know. I don't know. You know, when she came in the room, it was supposed to be a surprise. Oh my God, your eye. You know, she didn't know anything. But right there in the bathroom, Heather mentioned that they know. Listen, if I was Meredith, I know Meredith won't do this because she's, you know, an attorney. But no, ma'am, I would have been charged with kidnapping because I would have slammed that door and both of their asses would have been in that bathroom and somebody's going to tell me something. I want to know what happened. You have cut this shit. I'm just saying, this is ridiculous. Dana's downstairs talking to the girls and she says that Jen is an untrustworthy person and she's the only one who's willing to call Jen out. The rest of you just sit there and do nothing. And they, of course, Angie K, girl, shut up, talking about, well, I've said stuff and you see what happens. Girl, bye. You say all of your stuff behind Jen's back, which makes me look at you like, what kind of friend are you, Angie K? Because you clearly are not a real friend. You talk more shit behind this girl's back than you do to her face. Angie K, I'm looking at you sideways. However, hand her the snowflake. I'm here for it. And Whitney says, well, she's walking on, you know, eggshells. They don't really know how to approach her without worry that she's going to attack. And that's another reason why she thinks that Jen is responsible for Heather's black eye. Honey, now listen. There is no way that I would ever be in a friend group that I felt like I need to walk on eggshells because this girl might attack. Because let me tell you something, attack and get hurt. I repeat, attack and get hurt. The way that Angie approached Jen in that Sprinter van about that party, did anybody see how quiet she got? That's because a bully got bullied. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not calling Angie K a bully. I'm just saying sometimes to stop somebody from being aggressive and being a bully, you have to give them a little dose of their own medicine or just cut them off, period. Whitney conjugal visit while Rose needs to step up to the plate. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And don't be afraid of Jen popping off because you can always pop off too. I'm just saying. So then we get around to Meredith talking to her kids about this event. And this is a very, very important event. And I don't want to put any shade on it at all. You know, mental health is very serious. And if you are struggling with mental health, you should definitely get help. It's no shame in needing help to see somebody, talk to somebody. At the height of COVID, when we first quarantined, after 6 months of working from home and being stuck in the house, I reached out and got therapy and I felt so much better. Asking for help is not something to feel bad about at all. But I can say that listening to Meredith and her kids talk in that vocal fry that's real slow and draggy, I almost dozed the hell off, and I'm not lying. And it seems that Lisa Barlow did too. She even posted about it on social media. What the hell? However, Meredith said she was a little bit concerned that Lisa was going to see her kids at the benefit for the first time after that crazy rant. And her daughter said, I'll call for you, you know, if your garbage bag whore daughter is being accosted by Lisa Barlow. And that's a paraphrase. I'm not sure of the exact words, but Lord have mercy. She didn't call the kids garbage bag whores. You guys are posers. Posers, you know. And later in the episode, when Meredith made that comment about Lisa only being at the fashion show so that she can have a chance to pose and post pictures on Instagram, I laughed so hard when Meredith puckered up her lips and then they went directly to Lisa in her Balenciaga outfit with her lips all tooted up. I laughed so hard. Can I also say that Lisa got a whole bunch of backlash on social media for wearing that Balenciaga outfit? That was taped almost a year ago, and she had gone out to blast Balenciaga on social media prior to the episode airing. So let's give Lisa a little grace. That was prior to this whole Balenciaga situation. Now, Heather going over to Angie's house. You know what, Heather, cut the shit. She's over there at Angie's having a paloma. And when she said, how would you like a paloma? I Googled. And I'm going to have some of those this weekend. It just seemed like delicious, right? Anyway, I don't know how we got on this, but Angie is telling her that if somebody did this to her, she needs to confront it head on and stop this bullshit. Why would you protect somebody who would black your eye? This is ridiculous. And of course, she tells Angie that she's not going to tell her who did it or what happened. I probably would have asked her to leave my house. I mean, I'm just that pissed. I'm over it. I would have walked her to the door. Girl, take the Paloma to go. I don't give a damn. Keep the cup. I'm sick of this. I'm sitting here looking at you with this black eye that you are trying to cover with makeup. Somebody has busted you upside your head and you don't want to say who it is. This blind allegiance to Jen allegedly is way too damn much. She's going to jail for 6.5 years. Can you tell us now? I'm just saying. Then we see the segment with Jen and her therapist. And I said, oh, wow, this is just like the situation with Erica. Remember, we saw Erica with her therapist this season. And still, I don't give a damn. I'm sorry. I feel for the children and the husband and her mother. Do I care about you and your feelings? Absolutely not. Who I care about are the feelings of the elderly people that you stole tens to millions of dollars from. Those are the people that I care about. Cry me a damn river. Moving on.
I'm not angry at either of you, but it was a little bit disappointing, especially because we had a conversation and you literally pulled Lisa aside a minute later when we were all going to sit down to dinner together. We could have talked about it together. I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed. I'm not mad, like, I'm moving on. None of us should ever speak negatively about anyone else around you. I got it.
I get it.
That's okay. I'm not mad, like, that to me is not even like speaking negatively. That to me is discussing a public document. I'm moving on. I'm not mad.
You actually still seem kind of mad, Meredith.
You know, it gives her an opportunity to pose for social media.
But if I'm going to stand up for somebody and then you go back to that.
They are the most inconsistent people I've ever met.
This is the woman who actually has pushed her to the brink of wanting to take her own life. I lost sleep over that.
She is not a good friend and she's not a good person. I'm sorry.
Right,
I wanted to make sure that I took care of you guys. It bothered my heart. You know, I had no idea that the situation had unfolded the way it did. So I want to make certain, right, that nothing is outstanding. So let me give this to you right now, okay? Yes. But I wanted to make sure we made it right.
All I know is that I'm going to run to the bank after this event and cash that check before the government freezes her account.
You don't even know how I got my black eye.
Why are you laughing?
Because it's all just funny to me.
Did someone do that to you?
I don't think that that's even the conversation we should be having right now because it's unimportant.
So we get to this fundraiser fashion show and listen, Brooks, I know that I have zero fashion sense, but did anybody see anything on that runway that they wanted to purchase? I mean, the only reason I would buy something is just for the charity. And as a matter of fact, I probably would have asked, can I just donate to the charity? I don't want any of this, especially nothing that Brooks made. I don't want his name across everything. Oh gosh. Meredith is here talking to Dana and Angie K and being extremely passive aggressive. I'm not mad. What? And then she goes on to run down a list of everything she can't stand about how they acted on this trip. And then she informs Dana that, you know, she was misbehaving, I guess, and you were a +1 on this trip. I brought you on this trip. Angie, you don't have any right to go back and tell Lisa that I was talking about her. And then she tries to act like it wasn't gossip or negative. Meredith, listen, I need you to go back to Meredith disengaged marks because, ma'am, I don't give a shit what you say. You were being absolutely gossipy, negative, and doing too much. You were doing too much and you got called out on it and you were shocked and didn't know what to say. That makes no sense. And then she goes on to keep saying, but I'm not mad. Just because that was a public document does not mean that you were not gossiping, that you were not being negative. Now listen here, Meredith, I'm not mad. No, ma'am. I am not mad because you are passive aggressive. I am not mad because you are lying and doing too much. I am not mad that you are now upset that you brought Dana with you. I'm not mad and I'm ready to move on. Now listen, Coach Shah shows up with Jen and they have a check for a little over $12,000 to pay Angie back because she said that she asked Angie for an invoice and Angie gave her the invoice. And then Angie and the rest of the girls on the after show had the nerve to have an attitude talking about Jen was just trying to get a moment. She was trying to show off in front of everybody by paying Angie back, and this wasn't okay. But I have to play devil's advocate here. You embarrassed the dog shit out of her on that Sprinter van in front of everybody on camera. So why the hell should she not pay you back on camera? Let the record reflect that I have paid you back. Angie also said that the check did clear, even though she sat right there in that woman's face and in her husband's face and said, I love and respect you. And then in her confessional, she got to cash this check before the feds freeze the account. That account was on Sharif's name and he has been cleared by the feds, allegedly, and the check did clear. So, no ma'am. Even though I laughed, Angie is really good in the confessionals, but the problem with Angie is, and some other housewives as well, is they are real good at being confessional gangsters, but they cannot keep that same energy when you are right there in their face. Now listen, Dana, Angie K, and Lisa have this conversation. They are pissed off at Jen because Jen has gone back to Angie H to try to establish a friendship. We all know why, right? She blew up with almost every girl on the trip. Who else is left? She had to go back and pull up old Angie H. She needed somebody, so that's why she did that. You know, now all of a sudden, Lisa and Angie K have decided, oh, you know, you can't trust her. She's two different people. She acts different when the coach is around. And oh my gosh, I have fought for her. And now she's back being friends with that girl. And then I'm thinking to myself, you are all adults and you are all at a charity event regarding mental health. And this is what you guys are talking about. I think all of y'all could use some mental health work. Listen, focus on the charity. Focus on y'all's donations, because I didn't see anybody sliding any donations anywhere or writing any checks. I'm just saying, if Jen wants to make up with Angie H, let her have it. In the future, just don't butt in. Don't get into action. You know, Angie was upset. She said I was here for her when she almost took her life over this, which I'm on the fence about that. I don't know how true that story is, but listen, if you are a real friend, stick by her side. But we can see that you are not a real friend, so move on. We can also see that she's not a real friend to you either. So just cut out the friendships. Now, Whitney has invited Heather over to the house. It turns out that Bobby is turning 12 and Bobby had on a full face of makeup. And when Heather made the comment about the makeup, I thought the same thing. I said, you know what? When I was a kid, I couldn't even wear eyeliner until I was 16. I don't know about 12-year-olds in makeup, but lucky for me, I had a son and I didn't have to worry about the whole makeup thing. With the Heather and Whitney conversation, I'm Team Whitney here. Lord, what has happened to me? Heather, go on some damn where. Really, Whitney was there for you. You guys are not only former best friends, but you guys are cousins. You were bad weather. Whitney was willing and offered to put all of that stuff aside just to try to be there, support you, and talk to you about your face situation. Heather was being so condescending, so petty, and just over the top ridiculous. And I think this is because she really enjoys this attention. Now you doing the hobo tour all over every outlet, every media outlet, talking about how much you miss bad weather. You had an opportunity right there when Whitney says that she misses bad weather too, and that she is a trusted place for you, and that she wants to support you. You jacked that up. And another thing that I remember, Whitney was absolutely right about Heather. You treat Whitney way different than you do Jen. If Jen is the one who busted your eye and all the other things that Jen has done to you, but you're willing to ride or die for Jen, but not Whitney, who has been there for you for years, It's something about Heather this season that I really just don't like. Heather, you can go on. Now, I'm not saying that Whitney is 100% and she is perfect, because I'm tired of her too. Oh gosh, am I tired. But still, Heather, that's a bunch of bullshit. For real now. Anyway, peeps, I'm done. I'm tired. This is the second time I've recorded this because I'm a mess. Anyway, get down in the comments, you guys, and tell me what you think. Until next time, you guys. Bye.